Hello, I'm Amirul Aqmar with a quick news update for ISB566. Malaysia carries out movement control order MCO to restrain COVID-19. Government in an effort to revive the country's economy. Good morning. The COVID-19 pandemic that hit the whole country has affected almost every state in the world. It comes as a no surprise that the pandemic has pretentious many lives globally, forcing everyone to accept a new norms of masks, SOPs, and lockdowns. Malaysia is one of them. With the rapid increase in the coronavirus cases, Malaysia has introduced a measure to curb the coronavirus by implementing the Movement Control Order MCO. Malaysia is also no stranger to lockdowns, having implemented various MCOs to combat the pandemic since the start of 2020. The MCO request was expanded on numerous occasions and has now and again changed to either the Conditional Movement Control Order CMCO, the Recovery Movement Control Order RMCO, or the Enhanced Movement Control Order EMCO. All of the MCO imposed via the government, starting from MCO 1.0, MCO 2.0, and MCO 3.0 have a lot of impact in the whole country, especially in certain sectors such as SMEs, tourism, and export productions. With its present and chosen to execute several limitations known as MCO 1.0 from March to May 2020 prior, all business activities that were viewed as irrelevant must be ceased, causing the SME (small to medium enterprise) area to be impacted by all that. As indicated by our past Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, SMEs add to 35% of Malaysian GDP, gross domestic product, and 70% of the positions in the world market. With the lockdown, SMEs were seriously impacted, making many faces monetary battles, which gave 70% of SME details a half drop in their business. This made practically everyone of their business upset and felt that they had failed to keep a grip on the world circumstance. The first MCO until the reopening border also gave a huge impact on the tourism sector. The tourism industry in Malaysia, as we know, is one of the significant economic boosting sectors due to the incredible growth worldwide. Due to the rapid increase of a pandemic, the tourism industry has suffered a major negative impact directly from the economy's downfall, which is the lockdown and restricted travel. Travelers will be forced to postpone their trips and cancel hotel bookings as well as flight plans. All of that is a huge loss for Malaysia since it was ranked the third largest contributor to the economy of the country. Therefore, this will lower the gross domestic product GDP as fewer goods and services can be produced in the country. Tourism's Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri said RM45 billion in tourist spending was lost in the first half of the year due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. During the ongoing MCO, export productions were also affected by the lockdown and restrictions made to slow down the spread of coronavirus. Due to that, all of the export activities are not allowed to operate because almost all countries, including Malaysia, blocked and closed their borders. Added to this impact, manufacturers that contribute to Malaysia's export income were ordered to stop operations during the 2-month lockdown, causing it to contract by 8.3% compared to a negative 1.7% growth in 2019. It said COVID-19 has emerged as the top risk to global trade flows as it affects both supply and demand of goods. This includes Malaysia, particularly with almost 2 months of the Movement Control Order MCO, which disrupted production and eventually exports. Moreover, exports contribution to Malaysia's GDP is 5.22%, which is already considered one of the biggest in the economy. All trades in Malaysia have been affected since the start of the MCO. It is observed that in Q2 2020, Malaysia's export trade declined by 11.9% from Q1 2020, possibly due to the world lockdown measures. However, the export trade in Malaysia did not deteriorate further and was soon recovered in Q3 2020 with a hike of 24.6% from Q2 2020 recorded at RM 262 million. To ensure that the country's economy is on the right track or improving, the government must think of the best way to overcome it. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure, and that's what the government is trying to do. The introductions of the vaccine immunization program will almost certainly help the revelations of the country's economy with the reopening of sectors or industries slowly and predictably. Apart from that, Malaysia has also introduced a National Recovery Plan. The National Recovery Plan is a 4-phase exit strategy from the COVID-19 crisis. The strategy of the National Recovery Plan is based on the 3 indicators, which are COVID-19 transmissions among the community based on the number of daily COVID-19 infections, the capability of the public healthcare system based on the bed utilization rate in intensive care unit ICU wards, and how much of the population is protected against COVID-19 based on the percentage that has received 2 doses of vaccines. MCO implementations during the coronavirus pandemic appears to have a significant impact on most the sectors and industries, including small to medium enterprises, SMEs, tourism, export productions, and others. The Malaysian's gross domestic product, earnings or revenues, and global trade also impressed with the implementations of the movement control order MCO. Although it seems to harm all parties, including the country, companies, communities, and individuals, the fact is that this MCO is to take care of the welfare of all as a whole, with the cooperation of all parties in achieving the government's recommendations like always obeying all orders, achieving herd immunity, and etc., the country's economy will surely return to normal in stages as we have experienced now. As ISB566 draws to a close this time around, we'll leave you with the visuals of Malaysia's condition now. I'm Amirul Aqmar, and thank you for tuning in, and stay safe, Malaysia.